It was my first day setting foot in the barracks. The oppressive desert heat wrapped around me like an unwelcome embrace, and the desolation stretched for miles in every direction. Our barracks stood alone in the heart of this barren wasteland, a lonely fortress swallowed by the dunes. The air was heavy, not just with the weight of military discipline, but with something else, something unseen, pressing against my chest with an unnatural force. The atmosphere was colder than I expected, not in temperature, but in the way no one spoke to me. The silence was suffocating. New soldiers were ghosts in their own right, ignored by the veterans, left to fend for themselves. The only words I heard were muttered greetings, followed by the same ominous phrase, "New?" "Yes," I'd reply, hopeful for conversation. "Have fun on top of the turret." I didn't understand what they meant. I assumed it was just another watch post, no different from the others. My first days were spent on simple assignments, patrolling near the barracks, keeping watch near the entrance. The commanders and soldiers filled our nights with stories, tales of demons, ghosts, and madness. They spoke of men who had come here only to leave broken, their minds shattered by unseen horrors. Every now and then a soldier goes insane, they'd say. Some get sent home, some never recover. I dismissed their stories as exaggerations, tales spun to scare recruits. But their eyes held something that unnerved me, a quiet conviction, a knowing fear that lingered even in their silence. Weeks passed before I befriended an older soldier. One evening, as we sat under the dim glow of a lantern, I finally asked about the turret. "There are over 10 towers in this barracks," he explained, "all of them close together, except for one." He pointed towards the jagged outline of the mountains behind the barracks. "The farthest turret is near the mountains. That's the cursed one. No one posts there except the new recruits or those being punished." "Why?" I asked, feeling a strange chill creep up my spine. He hesitated before replying. "They say it's haunted by the ones who never left." I tried to laugh it off, but the unease settled deep within me. "Have you ever posted there?" He nodded. 1,000 times. I never saw anything. Maybe only cowards see it. But one night, one of our men came back white as a ghost, convulsing, unable to speak. They had to send him home. Despite the warning, my turn eventually came. The moment my name was called, a hush fell over the room. The older soldiers exchanged glances, but said nothing. I wanted to protest, to refuse, but that was not an option. The transport arrived at the base of the turret. The vehicle's engine roared before leaving me alone in the suffocating silence. The air was thick with an unnatural stillness. I climbed the narrow steps, my boots echoing against the worn metal. At the top, I found my post, an empty, weathered platform surrounded by nothing but darkness and distant mountains. The only company I had was my rifle, a wireless radio, and a dim lantern that flickered weakly against the vast emptiness. The first hour passed in silence. I scanned the horizon, my eyes adjusting to the eerie glow of the moon. The desert had a strange way of playing tricks on the mind, twisting shadows into movement. I told myself it was just the wind, just the night. Then I saw something. A figure in the distance, emerging from the mountains behind the barracks. At first, I thought it was a mirage, a trick of the heat. But no, the figure moved with purpose, coming closer. My grip tightened on my rifle. I squinted, trying to make out details in the dim light. A soldier, a young boy in a gray uniform, just like mine. My breath caught in my throat. I wanted to shout, to demand his identity, but my voice felt trapped in my chest. He stepped closer, stepping into the pale moonlight. My skin prickled with cold terror. I was looking at myself. The figure was me, an exact reflection, down to the smallest detail. But his face, his eyes were sunken, black pits dripping with thick, inky blood. His lips curled into a twisted, devilish smile. The color of his skin was unnatural, a sickly gray like a lifeless corpse. My knees buckled. My breath came in short, ragged gasps. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. I pressed myself against the turret's cold walls, my fingers trembling as I reached for my radio. The figure climbed the stairs. I heard the soft creak of boots against metal. My heart pounded violently against my ribs. The doppelganger reached the top, his blackened eyes locking onto mine. He grinned. A hand shot out. Pain exploded through my skull. My vision went dark. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed. Harsh fluorescent lights buzzed above me. My body ached, my limbs heavy as if filled with lead. A circle of faces loomed above me. Doctors, fellow soldiers, commanders. "Are you okay?" a doctor asked. I tried to speak. Nothing came out. Tears filled my eyes, my throat burned. I struggled to force even a single word, but my voice had abandoned me. Days passed, then weeks. My voice never returned. I was sent away, transferred back to my home city after 6 months of silent suffering. No one spoke of the turret. No one told me what they found. But I knew. And every night, as I lay awake, the memory of that twisted smile haunted me. Somewhere in that desolate desert, my reflection still waits, and someday it might come looking for me again.